Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to
Hello.
this week's Livecast. Your host here, Stephanie Jackson, holistic health and life coach from the freedomtolive.ca, and my co-host, Darlene Valentine from darleneavalentine.com and Alero Financial Solutions. We're here today to welcome our special guest. There's been a whole lot of anticipation around Karla Kelp joining us today on the Evergreen Coaching Space from Phoenix to Freedom. And today we're going to talk about Karla, how you really transformed your pain into your purpose. So welcome to today's show, and we're so excited to hear more about your story and really just dive into it with you. So welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Like you asked me to do this interview like 5 weeks ago, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, yes. I was so excited. And then all these crazy things happened. I didn't know I would go to a camp in Belgium and then go to a camp in Iceland. And all of a sudden, so much has been going on. But like finally, I'm here and we're doing this. And I've been so excited for 5 weeks now.
I know you're such a world traveler with all everything that you do. So I'd love to hear, like, as we dive into your story, just about how you've really created this life for yourself.
Yeah.
So where do we start, Karla?
Oh God.
Where do we start?
There is so much to tell. Um, Well, I love traveling. For me, every time I travel, I feel like I come back and I see the same place. For example, when I'm driving over the bridge in my hometown and I look at the river and I do that like so many times and I think I've just been here like again 2 weeks ago, but now only 2 weeks later I came back as a different person, as I have grown so much, I've evolved so much, I've learned so much. I felt so much. Oh, I get goosebumps saying this. Um, and I just love the richness of traveling, like everything that it gives you, everything that it can teach you. It's absolutely amazing.
So what what do you do, Karla? What are you passionate about? We know there's the travel aspect, but what is it that you do and that you're passionate about?
Well, my biggest passion besides traveling and food is is Jiu-Jitsu martial arts. I'm a martial artist. And also to help people to make this world a better place. Whew, yeah, my life story. There's just like so much to tell. Um, I grew up with an abusive father. He didn't mean to be like that. He just didn't know it any better. And but he would, because he was overwhelmed with me as a wild child. I
Right.
would like, I wanted to explore the world. I want to see everything. I wouldn't listen. So he was overwhelmed with it. And because he grew up that way, if I didn't listen to what he was saying, I would get hit. He would beat me and, or like scare me and saying like, "Oh, don't go there. There are bad people or there are ghosts or something like that." So, yeah, bringing me up, this is how, yeah, his strategy. He didn't know it any better. I've made peace with it now. But, for a long, long time, I always thought, oh my God, poor me. I was like constantly criticized. I was in fear a lot of time and I always thought I couldn't do anything right. I was not good enough. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do that. I had like so many doubts and it took me a long, long time to realize what a great person I am and how much value I can bring to this world. And I've just changed like so much, changed my perspective. And this childhood pain like held me back for so many years. Um, it's yeah, I
Yeah,
bet, I
there's
bet a lot of people can relate to that. Like when I started talking about this, I realized there are so many women that have the same problem. Once you talk about it, that's when you realize it, how broad of a problem that is. And I finally found my ways, my tools, my strategy to break free from all of that. Um,
Right. So there's lots of different places I can go with this. I mean, you had this really abusive childhood, this growing up. You were in also there's a bit of like this cross-cultural environment that you were in,
yes,
not only from the generational differences of your parents and their kind of socio cultural status or whatnot, and their way of how children should behave. And you were just different. You had this wild heart, spirited being, of which, I think you've come back to that place now as an adult,
yes.
but it was
Oh
it
yeah,
was repressed for such a long time, living in fear, having that story play out in your head, um, the victim story in
yeah,
in a lot of ways, and coming through this childhood pain. And it brings that question to me, is like, when was that day where it just clicked for you that, you know, I don't want to be in this story anymore. I don't want to be poor me. And like, what was that point where you
yeah,
just started
yeah.
to change, transform?
I've been unhappy the past few years, and then last year in November there was this one day when like everything went wrong. It was like Friday the 13th, but it was November the 17th,
Right.
and um, it was just horrible. Like in the morning, it was raining. I'm biking everywhere, so I was like biking, and I slipped on the wet on the tram tracks, and there was like a tram coming behind me, and I was like, oh my god, like get up, pick up the bike, and just like get out of the way. Thankfully, the tram driver behind me hit the brakes, so nothing happened. And
Wow.
he was still like a few meters away, but it could have gone wrong. It really could have gone wrong. And then again, like throughout the day, so many other things went wrong. And then I came back home and I realized, oh, I lost my bike lock when I slipped. So I went back to that place, see if I could find it, and then like trying to find it, not getting run over by a tram again in the middle of the night. And there I just had a breakdown. I stood there and I cried in the middle of the street because I realized I could have died that day, that morning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's often we don't even realize how fragile the body is, how quickly our life can be over. We don't live it to the fullest. And I used to be scared of dying, but not because of death. I was actually scared of not living fully, not having
Right.
done everything I wanted to do in life. And I've I've lost that fear now, and because I'm living life much more fuller. I still haven't reached my potential like 100%, but I'm on my way there. And
Of course you are.
that day, like so much went wrong, and then I went home. I was hungry. I was like, okay, I just want to cook something, and then I cut my finger really deeply, really badly. I went to the hospital, and they're like, I have a house hospital right across the street, but they told me, oh, we don't have an ER here. You have to go to somewhere else. I was like, oh, really? So, like everything went wrong. So I was like with my bleeding finger, and like everything was bad. And that was the day when I realized, like, no, I have something has to change. I knew it. I always knew it, but I never had like the push. Like life just like kicked me in the ass and said, like, okay, you have to change now. And even though it was a horrible day, I'm very thankful for that. And then I realized I really need to change. I have to break free from all of this that is holding me back. And there was this girl, a business coach that I saw an interview of, and she was really talking to me, and I thought, wow, like she's the way she was talking, I thought she was talking about me, she was describing me. And I've been thinking about like reaching out to her, but I was like scared, like, oh no, this is gonna be so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And but in the end I did, and we talked, we did have a session. Like at first I was like a bit indecisive and I didn't commit. I just booked a single session with her, but it helped me so much, so I decided to do her program. Back then I didn't even had the intention of starting my own business, but after just this one session with her, and when a lot of my emotional baggage was lifted, I realized, wait a second, all my life, people have been
Mhm.
coming to me like, hey, Karla, I have this problem. Can you help me? Or like strangers. After 10 minutes, I talk to them, they tell me their life story because
Yeah.
they feel safe with me. They know I don't judge them. I listen with an open heart. And, um, and I do have a gift for like talking to people and connecting with people. That's
Right.
also
Yeah.
something that gives me a lot of personal pleasure, like to really deeply connect and not do small talk. And yeah, that's when I realized this is my life path. This is what I want to do. This is who I am. And I also thought further that my dad might have taken my confidence in the beginning, but he's also given me a life purpose to help other women to overcome their childhood pain. Women that are stuck, like I was stuck. I didn't know where to go.
Mhm.
And yeah, I did the crazy thing of like dropping out of university like three-quarter through because
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. There was like something inside of me that screamed, that begged me to stop this. It was just, for me, it was like every paper I did was just a waste of time and energy. It didn't feel right. And I should have listened to my inner voice sooner, but yeah, afterwards we're always wiser.
Wow. So it sounds like there were through that day and that experience was kind of that, I often refer to this as that chaos or crisis moment where it just starts building and building and building in the background until life just boom, it forces us to make that decision, that fork in the road where we just have that wake up call. Um, Now, it sounds like there were a lot of gifts that you've always had,
Yes.
but you discovered these gifts through working with this coach and finding it deep within yourself, to bring you to your purpose today, which is helping other women. You're a personal development coach, you're a mentor, you
Yes.
have this business that you've created, now Phoenix to Freedom, where you help women deal with this very thing of childhood
Yeah.
trauma and overcoming it and the story. So what were those gifts that you had them, but you found them in yourself?
Yes, because I felt stuck and always, I didn't feel good enough. I was like, so much was suppressed. And once all of that baggage was lifted, and once I finally became myself, this is when I could look at myself and I could see a much clearer that, yeah, I do have that gift of connecting with people, of like sensing emotions. Because of my abusive childhood, I've become an empath. So I look at a person and I can tell immediately how they feel, what is their essence, what do they struggle with. I feel their energy. Is it high? Is it low? Um, and this is like something that's like really, really easy for me. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, connecting to people. And also I do, I found out that I can do energy healing, which, if you had told me that a year ago, I would have said like, what, me? That's so
What is
crazy.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, like, first of all, what is that, me? How is this working? Like, no. um but yeah, I discovered that talent. And also, yeah, my ex-boyfriend said the same, that he was depressed before we started dating, and afterwards he was happy. And he said like, I helped him fight depression. And I said like, what did I do? I didn't do anything. And he said, you were just you. And
Mhm.
so I was doing that subconsciously all the time without me knowing it. And
Right.
now I know how to channel that and how to direct this gift I have and direct that energy and help others. So I'm really happy and blessed to have that.
That's amazing. And I love the story of how you kind of fell into this and also started owning this skill. Now, bring me back to that. You mentioned you dropped out of university, you were
Yeah.
75. through the program. It was a really prestigious university in Germany, one of the top schools, and you got in and you were doing this program. Now, I'm sure that just the whole process of dropping out was huge, but speak to me about
Scary.
that internal force that you just couldn't fight against. But not only that, is how, like, what did you do? I love that part where you dropped out of university, and then tell us about how you started learning about your own gifts and really owning and creating your own, in a way, your own education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I felt lost for so many years. I didn't know what to do. So of course, after high school, I was jobbing a little bit. Then I started university, but I never felt that I was at the right place. It never felt good. I mean, I've learned a lot in university, um, not just academically, but also a lot about myself. And also a friend of mine in university said like, oh, they only pretend they have their shit together, but no one has. They all just
Yeah.
pretend that. And that was good for me to see that, because I always felt like I'm the worst. I cannot do anything. I'm not good enough. Everyone's better than me. And but I just knew it wasn't the right place for me, and it took me many years to pluck up the courage to actually drop out of university, because I had no plan B. And
Right.
um also my parents were
Oh.
like not happy with that, of course. Um yeah. So yeah,
So what did you do? Yeah.
well, I I put off the decision like to drop out or not to drop out. Like for a few years, I was like in between, where I like, okay, I can finish, but I don't have to, and it's like, but then the program I was in, that was running out, so I had a deadline. I was like, okay, either I'll write all my missing papers now, do the final exams, or I don't. And then time passed and passed and passed, and I just felt like I cannot do this. I have such a huge resistance against this. I just couldn't. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna drop out. And yeah, I had, as a student, I had a part-time job cleaning, and I would always listen to like audiobooks, podcasts, TED Talks, and yeah, I would basically like educate myself during work. And I was always interested in psychology, in yeah, like development of people. And I came
Mhm.
across an interview from Lisa Nichols, and she inspired me immensely, because she used to be a single mom on welfare, and now she built this multi-million business, so amazing. And she inspires so many people. And yeah, and when I finally discovered who I am, what I can do, that I do have the power over my own life, because I never felt like I had power. I always felt like a victim, that life happened to me instead of me creating it. And
Right.
now I'm creating it. And I had like so many blessings happening lately. It's incredible, and I'm so extremely thankful for it. And this is one of my biggest tools, gratefulness. It's something that I learned from the Lisa Nichols interview, where she said she finds 10 things she's thankful for every day. And because I know sometimes I can have this resistance, so I kind of bypassed that, and I got myself an accountability partner. So I'm
Good.
sending my best friend now a voice message every day with 10 things I'm thankful for, and she does the same. Lately, because I've been traveling so much, I haven't been able to do this like every day, but it's also, but every 3 days, but also it reprograms your brain, because you don't focus anymore on like, oh, this went wrong, this went wrong, this went wrong. No,
Right,
you focus
right.
on like, oh, I need this in my list, I need that in my list, and you just, it's like the brain is like a computer, and you reprogram that. And this is what I have done for myself and also my friend. And I live a much happier life now. And like every thought is vibration. And when you think positively, this is the gratitude is the strongest and highest vibration you can be in. So this is what my brain is tuned in now. So it's kind of like the radio station in my head. So this is the frequency now. And like I said, I've received so many blessings, and now I've realized, okay, you have gratitude, and meditation also has become a big tool for me to find inner peace. It's like the inner peace I have now is crazy. I just have to sit down, take a few breaths, and I have this peace back again. Where before I was like restless, and there was this kind of like bad kind of storm inside of me.
Right. Yeah. I know what.
So
Hmm.
yeah. So okay, to go back to the university thing again. Um, yeah, like I it was kind of a it was difficult, like I said, to pluck up the courage to do that because I didn't have a plan B. But when I realized that I, I am personal development coach, I was like, wow, this feels right. This feels
Right.
so right. And there are so many women that have the same problem I have. And now I finally cracked that. Now I can teach them how to do that. And that's what I want. I want to make this world a better place, as cheesy as it sounds, but it's true.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I shouldn't put a judgment on that, because it's a wonderful, beautiful thing to do. And it's kind of like causing a ripple effect with my happiness. It rubs off on other people, and when they're happy, and if I teach someone, they can teach others too. So you have this big, big snowball effect where you actually do have a voice, you do have power, you can make an impact. And this is what I'm telling people all the time when they feel powerless. It's like, no, I always tell them like choice is your power, because you choose. You choose who you want to be. You choose how you want to think. You think your thoughts are something also that like life that happens to you, but you
Hmm.
can actually influence that. You can, like I said, reprogram your brain, but that's a decision. And you have to decide, okay, who do I want to be? What kind of life do I want to lead? And I was so fed up with my life. I made sure to get the money to hire that business coach back then, because I wanted to break free. I couldn't live this life anymore, because I have been depressed. I had suicide thoughts. I've gone through all this stuff, and jiu-jitsu helped me a lot, like overcoming that. Without jiu-jitsu, I'm not sure if I would be here. Um,
Yeah, no, that's a huge piece to your story as well, in kind of in conjunction with, because I think it kind of came out about the same time-ish is where you dropped out of university, you started cleaning, but working and studying at the same time, building your own education in a way. But that's when you started getting back into jujitsu.
well,
And
I've started martial arts like almost 8 years ago.
right.
And so it has become like a big thing and big passion in my life. And like in every time when I didn't feel well, every time when I hit the depression hole, jiu-jitsu helped me a lot. And especially like in 2015, I had like a big crisis.
Mhm.
um and that's the beauty of jiu-jitsu, that it's 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 like almost like a meditation, because you are present in the here, in the now. This is what meditation teaches you: to be present in your body, be present in your now, because you cannot afford to think about any other problem when someone is trying to break one of your ligaments or trying to choke you.
Exactly.
It sounds brutal, but it's so much fun. Everyone should try it. It's so much fun. Um, so yeah, like jiu-jitsu is actually an amazing teacher in my life. And I'm very happy and thankful to have discovered that. Jiu-Jitsu is one thing that has been on my grateful list, on the 10 thing list, since December. Every day I'm thankful for it,
Right.
and for my health, that my body is healthy, because it's the biggest, yeah, our body is our tool, and without it, nothing, we cannot do anything.
So I have a few more questions here in today's interview. We can go down a few different paths here, and I'm trying to choose in my head which way to go.
Exactly.
But
We need more time.
I know in terms of, I mean, you had this image, you mentioned, was it Lisa Nichols?
Yes.
You had this image, I'm sure, of success and around money growing
Yeah.
up, maybe from your
Yes.
parents and your culture and just growing up in that environment. But how has it changed for you now today?
So much, a lot, a lot. This is one thing, like, everyone should ask themselves. What do you think success is? And also, if you have your answers, where do you think they come from? Do they come from
Right.
yourself, or do they come from your environment?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something we're not aware of. Like, consciousness, being aware, is also like a big, very important tool. Um, because everything that I believed came from my parents, of course. They didn't know it any better. They had it passed on by their parents, from their parents. So yeah, for me, success, like, I always linked, connected success with, um, yeah, having a career, having a business. And, but now success is having found that inner peace and having found that happiness. And it doesn't matter what my bank account is. Um,
Okay, it looks like we may have lost Karla here. We're just kind of wrapping up the show for today and talking a little bit about success. And Karla just mentioned that for her, it's coming back into that inner peace and that happiness. And I always talk about, when I work with people in my practice and we define what does success mean to you, it's always kind of going back to those inner core values. So what is really important to you? And that aligning what is really important to you is what determines how we show up every single day in our life as a successful person. So it's coming up to 1:30 here. The show is coming to a closing. So I would just love to have Karla on the show today. You can get in touch with her at Phoenix to Freedom. She has a Facebook page, and all her contacts are linked down in the show notes. There's an entire article there. Oh, I think we're just getting Karla back on here. Are you back?
so
It's
sorry.
okay. We just dropped off, and I was kind of talking a little bit about, just those core values as at the same time doing a little bit of a wrap up. So we'll do a formal ending
I'm
to
so
our show
sorry. My
today.
battery
It's
died. I had so much
okay.
more to hear, but then I forgot to plug it in. Oh God, so sorry.
No, but I was just saying that those inner peace and happiness are your kind of those success points for you in your life, and just talking a little bit, because I work a lot with people on their values and getting clear on what's important for them. And it's part of that inner voice. It's part of that, when you were back talking about your struggles in university, where it's like, this just doesn't feel right. It's because it's not aligning in some way with our core values of what's important for us, of what our gifts are into this world. And I think a lot of people struggle with this. is
Yes.
to find meaning and to find purpose. And especially, growing up with all this pain and all this story around our pain, and transforming that into purpose. So just as like that final question for today, for people trying to find that meaning, that purpose in their journey, especially in the thick of it when it seems so dark and gloomy and difficult, what advice would you give people going through that right now?
Well, the problem is we have never learned how to live a happy life. We've never been taught that. So it's extremely difficult for some people to listen to their inner voice because the chatter in their head is so loud. But a lot of times our biggest struggle is our purpose. And also people forget how great they are. Like you have forgotten that you're a gift for this world, and the world needs you. The world needs your love, your compassion, your authenticity, because the world is full of people that are not like that. So it's a choice to be that person. It's a choice to say, okay, I suffered enough. I really had enough. If I cannot help myself, I'll get help, but I want to
Right,
change. I
right.
don't want to be like that anymore. I had to get help. And
Mm-hmm.
now I'm like, oh my God, why wasn't I always like this? Like this happy Karla was always like hidden inside of me. And like in hindsight, I don't understand like how could have not have lived a happy life before. But it's like always easier once you stepped across that
Of
line. And
course.
when you look back, it seems easy, but when you're still on the other side, it seems so tough. Um, so yeah, like my advice is, like I said, choice is your power. You choose who you want to be, and listen to that inner voice. Look into the mirror, find that love for yourself, because you can only receive what you give yourself. If you want to receive something like outwardly from other people, give that to yourself first. And whatever, like I said, every thought is vibration, and whatever you think, this is how you create your reality. So I used
Amazing.
I used to hate when people say like love yourself. It's like, yeah, but
Yeah,
how?
I know. I hear
And
I'm on the same page. Yeah.
I always hated that. It's like, yeah, I know I should, but how the do I do this?
Yeah.
And I cannot. It's so hard for me to believe where I am right now. Where like not more than half a year before that, I was complete on the other side. And um, like I said, it's look into the mirror, look at yourself, find that love for yourself, find that compassion for yourself.
Mhm.
And if you cannot cross that line, get help. There are so many amazing people out there. Because where have you been a year ago? Where have you been 5 years ago? Where do you want to be in a year? Do you still want to be stuck? I was stuck
Yeah.
for so many years. I could have been where I am now, like years ago. I get goosebumps saying that because it's so
Yeah. No,
important.
it's so important. And that's that question I ask people continuously is what is it costing you not to change? What is it
Yeah.
costing you in in 1 month, in a year from now, not to change? What is it
Yes.
costing you 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? When you look at your 80-year-old self in the mirror, what does that cost you not to
Yes.
change? And that, if you can get into that picture of what that looks like, what is it costing you?
Yes. It's
Yeah.
looking at yourself and thinking, who do I want to be? Do I want to be who I am right now? Have I reached my full potential? Is there so much more to give to the world? Because the more you give, the more you receive. It's absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely. So, Karla, as we're wrapping up the show today, I just wanted to from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for coming on today. I know it's been a big anticipation and so
Yes.
much excitement to have you on here and talk about how you transform that pain into purpose. So Karla, where can people get in touch with you? How can they contact you and follow the work that you're doing?
Yeah, thank you for that. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. Like I said, for 5 weeks, I'll be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. We need to get this interview going. Um, and also to all my friends who are watching, please check out Evergreen Coaching.
Thank
Give
you.
give it a like, check it out. Stephanie is absolutely wonderful. Like we've been following each other. So yeah, to get in touch with me, the best thing right now is through Facebook, Phoenix to Freedom. You can find me there. I have a business page there and also a group called Phoenix to Freedom Rebels, where it's free, where I upload videos and posts, and where I teach women how to create a better life, what they can do to live a fuller life. And or just check me out on Facebook. Karla Kelp is my Facebook name. Kimura is a submission from Jiu-Jitsu. I'm that nerdy. I love Jiu-Jitsu. So that had to be in that name. Yeah, this is how you can get in touch with me. If you have any questions, please ask. Feel free. I'm happy to help. That's all I want. I really want to help, and I don't want anyone to suffer as long and as much as I have. So
Yeah, I
thank
can
you
be a
so much.
testimonial for Karla. I mean, just get in touch with her. She's a wonderful soul. And like she said in the beginning, she connects with you on a really deep level. Um, you know, she, I had the chance to work a little bit with Karla, and she just does really wonderful work. So you can follow her in her Facebook group, or send her a direct message and get in touch with her. So thanks again, and we'll
Thank
say
you.
goodbye to everybody watching, and we'll see everyone next week, Sunday, at our regular time is 8:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
Bye,
Thank
Karla.
you
Thank
so much,
you.
Stephanie. It was
Take
a pleasure.
care. My
Bye bye.
pleasure. Bye bye.